Good morning, everyone. It's 9 o'clock on September 16th, so I'll call the board meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge, and I'd like to ask everyone to stay standing for a moment of silence, or join me in a moment of silence for the victims of the past week of senseless violence, any hope for change, and the memory of Charlie Kirk and the anniversary of 9/11. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Consideration of agenda items, consent agenda. Is there any changes or additions?
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Chatska. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda.
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
To approve our consent agenda.
Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Chaska. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chair,
Yes?
I just want to note real quickly that we do have two commissioners who are absent today, and just that you're standing in this chair today.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm sitting in for our chair and vice chair, Doug Kruger. Having said that, we're lucky we have a light agenda. This is a week from our last meeting, so we'll go on from there. Item number 4 is U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, but that's on the table. So the first thing we have to do with this item is take it off the table.
Make a motion to take the item off the table.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Wright to remove from the table. Is there a second?
I can second.
Second by Commissioner Chaska. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. For those that maybe don't understand that, we had tabled it twice, and the last time indefinitely, and that's why I need to take it off the table. All right, now we'll move into U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Nathan is... Morning.
One moment, I need to turn your mic on for you. Sorry. Test. Test.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I'm Nathan Paylor, Realty Specialist with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. With me today is Mark Schnobrick, the landowner we're working with, to do a habitat easement on his property in Section 3 of Acoma Township. We're here today to request your certification of this property into the easement program. It's going to be allowed to be hayed after July 15th, and he can continue to graze it year-round. He will continue to pay property taxes on it. Some of your concerns before were with drainage with neighbors. Mark, along with Fish and Wildlife, has been in contact with those neighbors, and there are no concerns from any of them. Do you have any questions for us?
Are there any of the neighbors here?
No, the two neighbors he's referring to would be Andy Rasmussen to the south of the property. This is all on Unit Avenue. Think of Unit Avenue and Bell Lake Road is where this property is, just south of that. And the other one is Jay McAdence to the west. And he has land that was Larry Wendorf's a number of years ago. That's who I bought the property from. And it basically consists of about 12 acres that is going to be involved in this easement. And we've We discussed at length with Todd Boonstra from Litchfield Fish and Wildlife. And actually, Jay came to my home and we walked the property together. He is currently in Montana elk hunting. And I just talked to him yesterday and just texted back again we're coming in front of you for certification. And he said, no, we discussed the drainage issues that we talked about on the west side of this property that's going to be put into easement. And he had no problems with that, so.
Is this, I mean, it says you're paying property tax. Is this a permanent easement?
Yes.
Yes.
And why Fish and Wildlife? I mean, why not DNR or?
Oh, I tried a number of federal agencies to try to see what kind of permanent habitat I could put that into, and I went to the NRCS, and this was just the best program that I came up with in this migratory bird portion of their funding, so.
Is this in addition to some existing property in that location, or is this standalone?
There is currently a wetland easement protecting just the wetland basin itself. This would protect the grasslands around it as well.
Yeah, Larry had put in, back in the 80s, Larry Wendorf had put in the slough, I call it, down below into a permanent wetland and not allowing it to be drained. So when I purchased the property, I had that restriction covenant when I purchased it already. And I had horses, I've grazed down there, I sold hay off of that, and I attempted to grow hazelnuts as a permanent basis and got them started, and probably due to my own failure, it didn't quite go the way I wanted to. And so I thought, as we age here now, I felt that the fragmentation around our area, I just felt it was maybe something we could do for the county and preservation of the land, was to put this into a wildlife easement.
Okay, I have a couple of questions on the drainage. The two farmland owners that you mentioned between Andy and Jay, I know them both very well. Is there tile lines that flow through here of theirs?
Well, there's a tile line in the northwest corner of that property that's now owned by the Macadens. It drains to the south onto Andes, which goes into another slough, and it drains out of that's already existing off of the existing slough that I've got. And from what after Todd and I walked, and Jay didn't know of anything after Todd and I walked it, there was some on the west side that we could not find where they were at. And so there was nothing that seemed to affect what, if you notice the property, the topography is quite steep there coming from the west going to the east. And they've got tile that now go to the west and out into that slough towards Vista Road. So, no, nothing that would affect, that doesn't already exist, so.
Is that line or drainage protected by an easement at all, recorded?
Not that I know of.
There is a recorded easement agreement for drainage from
the south.
the west across your property.
Head to the south then.
Yep, and heading south.
Okay, so, and that, I mean, that is a big deal. Years down the road, when other people own things, and they weren't here today, and they need to dig up a tile line and so forth. I mean, there are policies that you and Fish and Wildlife and the perpetual easement have to follow. And so we want to make sure that any landowners affected are protected ahead of time, because once this goes over, it's impossible to touch it again, the way I see it. So I just want to make sure that moving forward, that there's an easement in place to protect those guys on that drainage. And you say that it is.
Yes, there is a drainage agreement that has been recorded.
Okay.
That's my biggest concern as well, is that, how do I phrase this right, but how am I assured that these landowners, I mean, we've dealt with other times where it gets to be quite a battle to get these things settled. How are we assured that these landowners, I wish we'd have had something from the landowners that they were okay with that. That is my biggest concern as well. I mean, does this easement just cover an existing line that's there and it's being specified, or is there a variance or whatever for that line, or for a line going through there?
Just based off my memory, the easement agreement for the drainage line covered just the existing line. There was a rough hand-drawn map with its approximate location stating that it could be maintained.
Board have any other questions?
I do not. My question was answered with hearing that there is an easement in place.
Again, I guess I don't want to be skeptical, but how am I assured, is that in the agreement?
Is what in the agreement?
The easement for the drainage?
It takes precedence, since it's been recorded, it's in line prior to this habitat easement.
Wishes of the board?
Well, outside of actually seeing the document, and if we're told that it's there by these individuals, I guess I'm going to assume that it is. The option we have is to table it again until our next meeting where we can ask for the documented proof of the easement being in place. And this is just to avoid things from going wrong down the road. That's what that proof of easement would do. But I guess I'm assuming that they're giving us correct information, and rather than drag this on, again, this is, the easement part has been answered for me. I'll make a motion to approve on the assumption that that easement is correctly there, like you're saying, so.
And I don't know the answer to this, but with the pre-existing wetland designation, I'm sure that tile would have easement, I don't know, I have to look at the document which I've got, but that already existed prior to this addition to that existing wetland. I don't know how this designation now of changing ownership, of course, in a sense, well, not really, I still have ownership, they just, the Wildlife Service has an easement to put in habitat.
Yep.
I don't know how that would really change the existing, what's going on right now with the property, I
Well,
guess.
there are
I have
times.
a question there.
Yeah, and I can answer that. So there are times where, and I
Excuse
don't
me, is
understand.
there, in order to continue with discussion?
Oh, second.
No. Thanks for that, Mr. Chair. And I don't know the direct language on how this affects, but there have been times where we can't even dig. We've seen property owners where they can't even dig to repair. And that's where it gets to have a significant effect on that drainage. So when you sit up here, you get in the middle of way too many drainage issues. And so it's just to make sure that that doesn't happen, because they have to repair. And they have to be able to have access without going through a lot of red tape to do that. Because sometimes it's not at the best time of the year when you figure out that I need a backhoe to make a pothole dig to figure out where that blockage is. So it's just making sure that we're doing something that doesn't impede those landowners' ability down the road, to make sure that they have the drainage that's there today.
Mr. Snowbrink, I mean, just for our experiences with Commissioner Wright and myself, you don't really find out until somebody does something. And when you have whether it's a ditch meeting or a hearing, then you find out the do's and don'ts of, I mean, I'm not even worried so much about an improvement as I am about a repair, but in good faith or whatever, I guess I will, I wish we're a short board today, but I would like to request that part of this, today's findings, especially if passed, that get attached to that easement, so there's a way to follow up on the statements made here today. Attorney Hinch, is that something that's feasible? Because I'm sorry, but I mean, we've ran into different things on land, especially with Fish and Wildlife. They're harder to get a hold of them and harder to, get an answer. I'm fine with it except for that drainage issue.
So as far as the language of the agreement itself, I mean, that right now is an agreement between the landowner and U.S. Fish and Wildlife. I mean, if you're talking about, conditioning our certification on verification that easement exists, I think you could condition your certification on that. And I don't know if that would meet with, our requester's approval here, but So I mean, would that satisfy, I mean, is that what you're
Absolutely.
looking to do? You know, the agreement itself is, I mean, I'm sure they have standard language and, you know,
Yeah.
but, I mean, that's already probably signed.
At least we have a starting point if that's there. I mean, a lot of times it's been said that there's been an agreement and then try to produce it. I mean, you say it's filed, but at any rate, there should be acknowledgement of that agreement. And it's been said today, so that's what was my idea of.
Okay.
If I may just say something as a landowner, I know that I've already waited a year for this almost, due to complications on my end, had nothing to do with you gentlemen, that wasn't the problem, but I'm kind of at a standing point now to, if you would not certify it today or something like that would happen. I know there's a window that's going to close very soon with Fish and Wildlife as far as appropriating this easement, and it's coming up with like.
And that's why I don't want to table it. I'm
Yeah.
with you,
I was a
Mr.
little
Snowbrink.
frightful when you said that. I
understand
thought,
there's-
oh.
But I'd just like to cover
Okay,
our bases, I don't want to say mine, our bases that there, you know, that there is some, whatever the right word is to find those easements and that they've been acknowledged, so I'm fine with that as long as
Okay.
it's,
and that shouldn't impede the, as long as they,
Yeah, are
okay,
you-
all right.
Attorney
All right.
Hench, are you able to certify the easement if they present it? If we delegate somebody to look it over?
I think we could authorize staff to, or,
Okay.
you know, signature upon, you know, proof that that easement exists. So, yeah, if the motion just includes that provision.
All right,
well,
we
it
can
should be
move
able to
forward.
go to our to our auditor's office or wherever and just note, I mean, it's done on other documents that there is an easement or whatever on that property. I would feel a lot better.
Correct.
Mr. Chair, I'll just add on to my motion that the approval is pending the certification of the easement by staff. And I guess I'm not going to add more red tape than that, other than I'll let the attorney or administrator figure out who that's going to be.
Motion maker has added this. Is it all right with you,
Yes.
Mr. Ch-
I would also like to clarify that we're not requesting your approval, we're requesting your certification that we have been here to talk to you about this.
Okay.
No, and I wasn't gonna go there, but I just, I have a problem with that. Sometimes it doesn't matter what we say, you'll do what you want. And, anyway, I'm okay with that. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, short agenda, county administration, review of calendars, oh, that must be me. Well, it's been a short week, and I did have a couple calls and meetings on some water issues, drainage issues, one road concern. I guess that an agenda review for today's meeting, that brings me up to today. I would like to have our administrator and her just to touch on an AMC event that went on this last week. Commissioner Wright?
Yep, both Commissioner Kruger and I had our extension committee meeting the Tuesday night following our board meeting. Pretty much an evening of committee reports, the annual events with extension. The next time we meet, we will be visited by our 4-H agent and most likely a few 4-Hers to give kind of an annual update as to activities and also to recognize 4-H week. Also, we talked about a couple open committee appointments, one of which we'll be approving here in our next item. And we already had a name for another vacancy on there, so we will be able to start 2026 with a full slate. And that's it for me.
So last Wednesday, I had a CHP meeting. We'd been told a while ago there was a grant that we could possibly not be renewed or be getting. So they did do the formal 30-day notice to some employees. And we're supposed to find out by the end of September whether they'll be getting that or not. So they're still planning and preparing the employees, but we did approve paying out of the reserves in that account for 2 months, because it's a transitional grant, and there was a parent at the meeting that sits on the board, and she was very concerned about what would happen to her child during that time. So they are going to work on that, or obviously work with the state on trying to get the rest of that, but then also extending that for 2 months with our money. I was able to attend AMC last Thursday and Friday. The first one I'd been to, I thought they were pretty good. I liked the shorter sessions. So we had different ones on Thursday afternoon, shorter sessions in the morning on Thursday, but we did some, they talked about para and retirement for some different groups. They talked about cannabis, which is probably the first meeting that I've sat in the last year and a half that actually had some good information. So that was nice to go to. They did a property tax 101 crash course. That's always fun to go to. But I did learn some stuff, so that's good. And then there was an elections refresher presentation on Friday that was part of the panel in the morning. So I enjoyed it. I got to know some people from different counties, which I think is probably, from what everybody says, that's the important thing there, to the networking and getting to know some new people in different counties and stuff. So, but yeah, so I was really glad that I went to that. That's all I got.
Thank you, Laura. Attorney's office? Sheila, administration.
Thank you. You asked that I comment on the Association of Minnesota Counties Fall Policy Conference, which at least a few of us try to attend every year. You might remember, for the public, that we have all of our commissioners and some of our staff appointed to the different policy committees, and that's Environment and Natural Resources, General Government, Public Health and Human Services, Public Safety and Corrections, Transportation and Infrastructure. Myself, Commissioner Chachka, and Commissioner Schmalz attended. Commissioner Schmalz couldn't be here today, so he may give an update on that conference attendance upon his return at the next meeting. Commissioner Chachka already commented on some of the items that she attended during that conference. They opened with a welcome and general session. Well, they had some different meetings beforehand with Minnesota rural counties and other groups which typically meet before our conferences. There was a legislative panel, which was called Strengthening Partnerships for Legislative Success, and Matt Hilgart from the association ran that panel. It was a good session. It was a little bit difficult. There was 2 representatives and a senator who presented, and they had worked very closely with Melissa Hortman, who we know passed away. She presented at our February legislative conference, and it was still pretty fresh for them. So it was a difficult presentation, but it was good information, and it needed to happen. There was information on solid waste, systems modernization, which obviously is a huge concern in Minnesota with the Health and Human Services and the information technology there. Policy committee meetings were held both on Thursday and Friday, and like Commissioner Chachka noted, they were very good and beneficial, gave us the information we needed to move forward with the county level cannabis licensing, permitting. So you'll be hearing about that a little bit in the workshop today, and that's all I have. Any questions?
Sheila, the only thing I'd just like to add is that this was a preliminary to the actual voting of our policies will be done in December.
Thank you. That's a good point.
So this was a review. The actual policies will be voted on in December. Thanks.
And those policies are what the lobbyists who work with AMC will bring during session. So it's good to meet with everyone. Everyone from the 87 counties is invited. There was very high attendance. I would say that that resort probably can't house it anymore, and the contract did expire, so that might help. But it's very busy, fast-paced. You go home right after you get there, it feels like, but a good investment of time and cost, I would say. Thank you. Should I move on?
Move on, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Item A, consider adopting Resolution 25-CB-21, Additional Citizen Committee Appointment. This resolution appoints Shannon Matson as the District 2 appointee to the Extension Committee. Joy Freitag is resigning from the committee, and this appointment will fill that vacancy. And need a vote.
All right, it being it's my district, I'm going to make the motion to approve Shannon Matson, who will be a good candidate or a good person for this extension committee. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Chaska. Any questions or comments or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. B.
Thank you. Authorize administration to proceed with bid letting date for the Environmental Services Facility renovation project. As you recall, we've been discussing an elevator project for some time, which has been included in the budget, and we need a vote to authorize us to go ahead with the bidding process.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Wright to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Cheska. Only question I would have, does this still allow for some tweaks if need be, or are these specific plans moving forward?
This allows for all the tweaks.
Okay.
And I just ask, I know this has been a project long in the making, and I think many of us have kind of forgotten some of those parts along the way. So before we get to actually authorizing the project, we need to have a very extensive workshop with the full board to make sure they understand what the new blueprint is, the costs involved of the project from one end to the other, and how those services are going to be improved is a very important piece of this moving forward with the expenditure. So I think we need to make sure that we have a chunk of time sectioned out in the workshop for that.
Thank you.
I do have one question as well. So on the request, the board agenda request form, normally there's like costs associated and where it's coming from. This is coming from solid waste, from their,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you very well.
I didn't quite understand the question either. Go ahead.
Are you talking about the funding
the
from the
funding.
budget?
Yep,
That will be determined during the bidding
Okay.
process, yeah. But that's expected that it'll be using some of the funds from the fund balances that exist that can be used for that. But that will have to be approved by the county board.
okay.
So this only allows us to move forward with putting it out to bid essentially. It doesn't define the project. It doesn't set a timeline, none of those things. Contegrity is working on that with us, and a lot of it can be ready, but it will still need to be approved by your board.
Okay.
My words here is, I mean, it started, Commissioner Wright alluded to it, that we've been doing this for a while. I mean, it starts for me with the elevator, or the need to, to really complete the ADA for that building. I mean, that's where it started with. We've had so many discussions and changes that, and I think this is just to move forward, and we're doing what we need to do here, so
Thank you. I just want to note a reminder that this project was put on hold because the county board approved Century Hall, and that energy from our project being approved to have them manage this moved to that project. So it wasn't like they didn't perform. And then there was a change with the architect at Widseth, and since that change, actually, it has been very beneficial. So I'm grateful actually for Commissioner Kruger and Commissioner Wright, because without their assistance throughout the long length of time this has been laid out, we wouldn't be moving. But the best part, I think, about doing this right now is there's an advantage with it being an indoor project. So there won't be outdoor work required. That usually makes it an attractive project for construction companies in Minnesota during the winter season, like it did for the government center. So it should be an attractive project for bids. Thank you.
any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the project moving forward in a bidding letting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Item C, notification of board workshop following the board meeting on Tuesday, October 7, 2025. This workshop will be the board's annual highway tour, leaving from the McLeod County Government Center at 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. And that is all that I have for you today. Thank you.
Open forum. Anyone wish to address the board?
That'll be
That'll be
later.
later?
Yep,
Okay,
just hold.
thank you. No other open forum, press relations, anything from the press? The next meeting of the McLeod County Board will be 9 a.m. on October 7th, 2025 at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North in Glencoe. Is there a motion to recess?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Reiser, second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chachka. The meeting is adjourned.